15 years ago, the night had swallowed the stars whole, as if the sky itself had decided to forget the sun. The air smelled like rain that never fell, a kind of suffocating, humid stillness. It was on that night that the world went wrong. Emma Williams was 15, a girl who spent too much time staring out the window, as if trying to see the future creeping up behind the sun. She was full of promise, full of life, yet her parents, Vince and Judith, had always known there was something dark about her. Not evil, not wrong, but other. The kind of child who could make you believe in shadows at high noon. On that night, when the clock struck midnight and the wind began its eerie howling, Emma vanished. Just like that. Gone. Vanished without a trace. No footprints, no scent, no scream. Only an open window, and the faint smell of lilacs left behind. The search went on for weeks. Flyers covered every telephone pole. Dogs were brought in. The police combed through the woods behind their house, into the murky swamps that clung like ghosts to the land. But there was nothing. No sign. No clue. Emma Williams was lost to the world. Vince and Judith never spoke of it again. The years turned, and the pain became a dull ache. Grief became a companion, and with every passing day, the memories of their daughter began to erode, like cliffs breaking away into the sea. They didn't forget her, but they moved on. They had to. But you can never fully move on. There are some things that bury themselves deep inside, and then one day, they return. 15 years to the day, the phone rang. Vince, who hadn't been able to sleep since the anniversary of Emma's disappearance, groggily reached for the receiver. His breath caught as he lifted the handset to his ear. "Hello?" he said, his voice hoarse, as if it had been waiting for this moment for years. "Dad, it's me, Emma." The voice on the other end of the line was unmistakable, and yet, at the same time, it wasn't. It was the voice of the daughter he had lost, but older, deeper, unnervingly so. There was a heaviness to it, a weight, as if every word were being drawn up from the very depths of the earth. "Emma?" Vince's voice cracked, a jagged sound that felt foreign in his throat. "Is it really you?" Judith, who had been asleep beside him, shot up in bed, her heart pounding in her chest. She reached over and took the phone from Vince's hand, her face pale as snow. "Emma," she whispered, barely able to breathe. "Where are you?" The silence on the other end was oppressive, thick, like the air before a thunderstorm. "I'm not at exactly where you think I am." Emma's voice came again. It had a hollow quality, as though it were coming from a place much too far away. "But I'm alive, and I'm coming home." Judith's hands shook as she clutched the phone tighter. "Oh God, we thought you were..." "I know," Emma cut in, her voice no longer sweet, but laced with something sharp, something jagged. "You thought I was dead. But I'm not, Mom. Not yet. Not until you tell me the truth." The words froze Vince to the bone. They had buried the truth, hid it, locked it away so tightly that even now, the key was lost. But the truth, like all secrets, had a way of clawing its way back to the surface. What do you mean? Vince asked, his voice trembling. I mean, Emma said, each word dragging like a heavy stone, that you killed me. You did. You killed me that night. You buried me, and now I'm going to make you remember. The room felt colder, a deep, freezing chill that settled into their bones. The hairs on the back of Vince's neck rose. It wasn't just the cold air of winter creeping in from the open window. It was something far darker. Judith's grip on the phone tightened as her mind began to swirl, the memories of that night coming crashing down in a wave of terror. The broken bottle, the sharp cry, the fear, the guilt. The lie they had told themselves. Emma had been there, right in front of them. That night, that dark, terrible night, when they had lost control. She had fought. She had screamed. But they had done it anyway. You didn't mean to, the voice on the phone whispered, but it wasn't comforting. It was a reminder. But that doesn't change anything, does it? Tears slid down Judith's face, but her throat felt too tight to speak. Her lips moved, but no sound came out. How could she answer that question when, in her heart, she knew the truth? There had been no accident. There had been no tragedy that night. There had been a decision. We didn't mean to, Vince whispered, his voice cracking. But it wasn't enough. Not then. Not now. The silence stretched again. It felt endless, like the void between stars, cold and empty. Goodbye, Mom. Goodbye, Dad, Emma said, her voice a whisper that seemed to come from the other side of the world. And then, without warning, the line went dead. The sound of a dial tone echoed in the silence, mocking them. They never heard from Emma again. But every year, on the anniversary of her disappearance, the phone would ring. And when they picked it up, there would be no voice, just the sound of the wind, a distant, mournful wind that seemed to call their names there, somewhere, waiting, watching, waiting for them to pay for the thing they had done. And they would, eventually. They would. Because there are some things you can never run from. Some things that follow you, no matter how far you go. And every time, they listened in fear, because they knew. Deep down, they knew. She was still out, and Emma, wherever she was, would always be watching.